In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this cute little rustic Christmas tree and some interesting techniques. So if you want to learn how to do them, well then follow me. What's up, Glue Dots? I'm Elaine, the Midnight Crafter, and I have a project for you tonight, more so to teach some interesting and unique techniques, but it is also a very cute project too. I'm excited to show it to you, but I would love it first if you join our Glue Dot family by hitting the subscribe button down below, and then when you hit that bell next to it too, it'll let you know when I upload new videos, hopefully. And also, give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying my videos and leave me a comment because I love hearing from you. I'd also love to hear from you if you guys have some techniques for doing some of the things that I'm doing here. So let me know. And also, I do need to remind you that down below in the description box, I have a link for a drawing to win a Bling Owl keychain, and I do that drawing the first of every month. So don't forget to enter to win. Also down there, you will find the contact information and the list of items needed for this project. So I think right now we need to get to the project. So let's do it. So all I'm going to do to age this little cookie sheet is I'm going to actually just stick this into my dishwasher. So running it through the dishwasher is going to give that whole, take the shininess, give it sort of an old used patina look. So I just pulled this out of the dishwasher. I don't know how well you can see, but there's a spot there that's still like the old. You can see the patina look that it kind of gets on it. It's not so shiny and new looking. So that's a quick way, and the more times you run it through the dishwasher, the more it will get kind of a, I don't know, whatever, rustic look. Let's say that. First step I did really was to cut off the whole frame or the edging around our tray. So what we're gonna do now is go ahead and we're gonna cut what the remainder of our tray into strips. And what's great is if you can find the same type of tray that I got here, it has lines on it, so it makes it a little easier. You can kind of decide what width you want your strips to be, and you can use those as a guide to make sure they're pretty even. Now it doesn't matter if each of our leaf things or each of our pieces is the same size. We really don't need it to be the same size, but if that's something that you want, then this is a good way to get a good guide for that. So now after you have all your strips cut, what we're going to be doing is cutting these strips into smaller pieces. Try not to make dents in them, but find about the halfway mark, cut it in half, and then cut that into thirds. Like I said, they don't have to be an exact same size. Just approximate would be perfect. Because in reality, trees are all different. So you're going to cut all your strips into smaller pieces. And so once you have all those pieces cut, I have mine in the piles of the one full strip. We're going to be now cutting those into sort of a leaf shape. So I'm doing them stacked all together. And what I'm just going to do is cut that corner off and go towards the center. Now one end of it should have a point, the other end of it doesn't matter if it comes exactly to a point or if it has a little bit of a flat edge. Flat edge might even give you a little more surface space to glue on, but it doesn't really matter. So this is the shape you're going to have cut out. And the next thing, since we're already holding them, you're going to give these, on that pointed side, you're going to give it just a little bit of a curve. Go through and do all of your leaves and have those ready to go. But now we're going to take our styrofoam piece here and we're going to use the caulking and go ahead and put it around onto our styrofoam piece. So if you want to use a craft stick or something to smooth that on with, you can do that. I like to just use my fingers. So that's what I'm going to do. So you're going to leave it pretty thick and spread it on there. And when I say pretty thick, I mean probably about 1/8 of an inch or so thick. And This is where it gets fun. You start taking your, what I call leaves, and start attaching them. Now you're gonna put one kind of down at the bottom, sort of hanging off a little bit, but then place this down on your table so that you can see that it's not sticking down so far that your base won't rest. It's not really gonna matter because we're gonna put a tree base on there, but just in case you don't wanna put a base on it, be aware of that. So you're just gonna go around and attach one next to the other, just like this. So you're going to continue on like that. You can go ahead and put the caulking on. Probably better to do a bigger area because you don't want to have a goopy finger like this and not be able to work. Now I know one of my other projects I did, some of you mentioned using a paper punch for this. I don't know how it will work with the metal, if it will work or not. But you can always do that. I really like the difference, having a little bit of difference in my leaves. So with my other project as well, I kind of prefer having that variance in the pieces and not having them be exactly the same. I think it adds a little more of a handmade look to the items instead of perfectly shaped every time and each one exactly alike. So here we go with the first row, and then you're gonna go on to your second row. Also, for those of you who, I did have some questions about this the last time I used this caulking. It's found in Dollar Tree in the, what I call the guy section, you know, the tools and the lights and all that kind of stuff, the plumbing, whatever, all that kind of goodies. So I know there are women out there that do that too, but I just call it the guy section because the vast majority of the guys are more into that section than the rest of us are. So what this is used for is normally for filling in the corners of, say, like a sink or a tile to a bathtub or things like that. So if you don't have it, if you're from another country and you don't have that, that's what you're going to be looking for, is the stuff that they use in plumbing for, say, bathrooms and sinks and things like that. And now when you put your next row of leaves, you're going to go in between the two leaves below it. And that way it covers up any of the top part and it just has a nicer, tidier look to it. When you get to your third row, you're going to do basically the same thing and you're going to go in between those. So you're going to work your way all the way up and we're going to get this covered and I'll be back. So the higher up your tree you go, you will be getting some overlap of your pieces. Don't worry about that. They overlap beautifully. This is really thin material, so it will look amazing. Now, as you get much, much higher up the tree, you won't be able to do them centered. So at that point, just don't worry about where they're falling, if they're falling in between things or if they're kind of falling right where the other one below it was. It's okay. Nobody will notice and nobody will look at it that closely. They're just going to think what a beautiful and amazing project you made. Also, one of the issues you're going to face getting to the top is nowhere to hold it. So if you have a pencil or a skewer stick or something that you can poke into the bottom that you can use to hold it and spin, that would be very, very helpful so you don't knock off all of the ones you put on the bottom. Okay, so when you get to the very top, you want to make sure there's plenty of caulking there because you really need that to stick. So the leaves that go on the top, you're going to have that curved end kind of coming down, and then you want them to stick up past the top a bit because we want to have a nice point to our tree. Now, one tray is definitely, you need the whole tray in order to do one of the styrofoam cones from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to show you a really cool technique now to make this look old and rusted. So this technique is not something that I made up, but it's something I had seen somewhere. I don't know who originally came up with this, but it's a technique used to make things look old and rusted without having to take the time to do it. So what we're going to be doing here is using our Mod Podge. You don't need a whole lot of it for this whole tree. Just a cheap little paintbrush. This is just one of the ones from the kids' little sets. And what we're going to be doing is dipping in there a little bit and kind of like you would be doing with dry brushing. getting some of that excess off of there. And you're gonna be painting the tips. Just kind of haphazardly, however, you can't take too much time, otherwise it will dry up on you and then that will kind of defeat the purpose. So we're gonna do a little bit at a time here. And I'm gonna show you, I'm just very little just kind of randomly placed on various leaves towards the tips, as if it was you were putting on snow, which we're actually not, but you could, if you wanted to do glitter, you would do this same method with the glitter. So once you get a few of your leaves done, before your Mod Podge dries, and you can definitely use school glue for this too. I don't know why I chose to use Mod Podge, I just did. So this is where our cinnamon comes into play. So I have this huge thing from Costco because I love cinnamon. And what we're going to be doing basically is sprinkling this on as we would be glitter. So everywhere that you put glue or that you put Mod Podge, this will be sticking on. And you shake off the excess and it gives you this nice rusted effect on it. So I'm going to go through and finish out the tree and show you how it looks. So while we're waiting on that to dry, what we're going to do is find from our little wood block pieces here one that has a pretty good width of base and hopefully is pretty flat. I mean, this is a little bit lopsided, but at least it stands up flat. So try and look through your pile. You never know what you're going to get with these. But try and find something. Looks like I found a good piece. And what we're going to do also is use the caulking because it's very sticky and like a gummy type of adhesive. So it works really well for this project and will hold on really tightly. So we're just going to put a blob of that. Ideally, you need to let your project dry really well. But for recording purposes, I'm not going to because I don't really have the time. I need to get this out to you guys. So, okay, so what I'm actually going to do right now is put my my skewer stick in the top end so that I can take the one out of the bottom and place our little tree trunk on there. So, and then we need to let this dry and then can put in, I can't take that out now, but one or the other. So either you let it dry and then glue your base on, or you do what I'm doing. So now what I'm just going to do is take the skewer stick out that I put in. Alrighty, so we'll put our little bell back on the top, or your star, or whatever you want. Don't forget, if you're enjoying my channel, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this, or if you know who originally found the idea to use cinnamon as rust. All right, well, let's do this, guys.